Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Friday, January 7th edition of StudentLoanJustice.org. I'm going to get right to it tonight, folks. There's a lot going on. If you have any questions or comments, throw them out. And if I can see them, I will gladly respond to them. So, yeah, guys. Okay, here's what's going on. So we spoke to the Senate earlier this week. And I'm glad to report that our bill, S-2598, is rolling right ahead. So that's good. You know, Senator Durbin isn't the most camera-friendly. He's not like a camera whore. He doesn't run after. You don't see him on TV all the time. But he's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. He's got all the votes that he needs to get S-2598, the bill that will return at long last bankruptcy protections to federal student loans. He's got all the votes he needs to pass that, not only through his own Judiciary Committee, but through the entire Senate. So we're in very good shape. Now, having said that, there is a lot that needs to happen still for this bill to make it through. So the sausage is being made literally right now, guys, as we speak. The sausage is not literally being made, but it is literally happening literally right now. So, yeah, guys, what we do, what you do, what I do, what everybody in this group does to get this bill through will definitely be the difference between actually getting student loan cancellation down the road, or maybe you just want a break on the interest, or you want some other negotiated settlement for your thing, or whether you need to get your loans canceled, or whatever the case may be. We are not going to see anything real happen in Washington, D.C. from President Biden or Congress unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side. That is the most important policy point I'm going to make tonight. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. It's a terrible thing to have to do. But the founding fathers knew that bankruptcy was so important, they called for it ahead of the power to declare war and raise an army. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we've been doing this for 16 years now. We have seen any number of loan cancellation forgiveness. I don't like that word. I like cancellation better because we haven't done anything to be forgiven for. We've seen any number of these programs come and go and come and go again and come again and go again. And nobody ever gets their loans canceled, like almost no one. Of the millions of people who tried for these income contingent repayment programs starting back in the 1990s, 32 people actually made it through those. That's like you could fit 32 people in my cramped, cordoned off living room here in northern Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Okay, that's not very many people for millions and millions of people trying. The Department of Education and the swamp creatures in Washington, D.C. will not actually cancel loans, will not effectively, or even with a modicum of good faith, fairly administer whatever cancellation programs might be put in front of them, whether through Congress or whether by executive order. So, and by the way, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out. If you're watching us on Facebook, I can see them. If you're watching us on Twitter or YouTube or whatever, sorry about that. You kind of have to come to our Facebook group in order to comment and join the discussion. So that's facebook.com/group/SLJ group. So bankruptcy lies at the core of everything, guys. We've been tricked many times in years and decades past by people calling themselves student loan advocates, people from Harvard and other places. I'm not even going to mention the names, but they're still around today. And we've seen these people go to great lengths to kill the push for bankruptcy protections in favor of very friendly sounding loan cancellation programs, IBR, public service loan forgiveness, repay, on and on and on. The thing that's been missing and the thing that has caused all those programs to be miserable failures has been the threat of bankruptcy. So nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. Terrible thing to have to do, but we've got to have that threat on our side. If you want loan cancellation, maybe you only want a break in interest, maybe you want some other negotiated workout. That is not going to happen until we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to tell you. So this bill, and I don't know why the other student loan activist groups out there aren't fighting for this. Quite frankly, one of them is very suspicious. In fact, beyond suspicious. One of them we found close ties to a lobbying group in Washington, D.C., famous for creating fake grassroots movements on behalf of banks and insurance companies and energy companies and oil companies and tobacco companies and other corporate interests. I don't speak for them. They can defend themselves. But if they know what I know, and they should, if they call themselves student loan activists, they would be fighting tooth and nail for S2598. Why they're not, I don't know. I don't care. What I know is what I just told you. We are not going to get meaningful loan cancellation. We're not going to get any of those workouts that you might want. None of those things will happen unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy back. So S2598 becomes almost everything, guys, really. I mean, and not only that, we are going to see a mass default across the country come May 1st or whenever if and when they ever decide to try and turn this lending program back on. We're going to see a mass default. It would behoove us when that time comes to at least have the bankruptcy protections that every other borrower for every other type of loan has on their side, in order that we don't see a massive wave of lawsuits, people getting their shit leaned, pardon my French, and all the terrible things that come with the unchecked, predatory, tyrannical power that the collection industry has been given over us. The collection industry is drooling right now. Oh, they really want to see this lending system turn back on. They really want to see a mass default. There's a collection guy named Jerry Ashton who used to kind of try and hang around on this group. We kicked him out, but and he called student loans the golden unicorn of the collection industry. I was at Occupy Wall Street, by the way. I'm not a liberal, nothing like that, but I was very proud and happy to be one of the only, in fact, the only student loan protester in Zuccotti Park in Manhattan for 2.5 months, but for a couple of days when some other people showed up. Jerry Ashton came up to me at Occupy Wall Street, and he had flown an accountant friend of his in from California. And these guys, you could see the dollar signs in their eyes. They so wanted a mass default. Anyways, Jerry Ashton. So guys, we can't play that shit. We can't play into their hands. We've got to get S2598 passed. And as you can tell, we are the only group in the nation fighting for this. Shame on the other groups. I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe you should ask them. But the fact remains, we will not see meaningful. I'm not going to repeat myself. The only good things are going to happen only when we get bankruptcy rights back. So our bill, S2598, we've got to get more Republican senators co-sponsor and support this bill. Durbin has all the votes he needs now, but it's more than just a matter of vote counting, guys. It's a matter of getting the Republicans to do the conservative, constitutional, and moral thing. There is zero real rationale. There's zero premise for Republicans to be opposing us. There is not. This is a big government, college enriching, some would say socialistic lending beast that is conquering and enslaving the states. And there's nothing that any true conservative can say in defense of this predatory beast. So if you have a Republican senator or two in your state, quite frankly, if I were you, I would make it my life's work, at least over the next couple of months, to Do everything you can to get your Republican senator to co-sponsor S-2598. Now, there's one other good thing about this bill that should attract Republicans, and that is not only does it return bankruptcy rates to federal, not private, only federal student loans, with a 10-year waiting period, by the way, so it's not perfect. The debt has to be more than 10 years old, but okay. The bill also has a clawback provision in it where the colleges are responsible for paying up to 50% of the original loan amount back to the government in the case where there actually is a discharge in bankruptcy. Now, when this bill passes, guys, very few people, maybe even no one, will ultimately have to file. I just want to make that clear. So it's not like, yeah, I can't wait to file for bankruptcy. No. That's not what this is. Just the threat alone of bankruptcy is what we need. Very few people, maybe no one, will actually have to file. Although certainly a few people will file. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, the colleges are put on the hook. It's not a huge thing. It's like up to 50%. So it's a sliding scale depending on how bad their default rate is. So for a lot of colleges, it's going to be essentially nothing, but whatever, at least symbolically, it sends a strong statement and it holds the colleges somewhat accountable. And Republicans have got to be on board with that because their base hates the colleges by and large. Hey, I see we have some comments here. Sorry, I've been lagging on this. Hey, Michael Jacobs is here. Yo, Michael. Rachel Warner is here. Just read and oh, thank you. Rachel says, I just read and clapped for your latest article, Alan. Thank you for mentioning that, actually, Rachel. You know, in the past 2 weeks, we've written like 6 articles, and you can see, whoops, that's not it. And you can see them all at there, studentloanjustice.medium.com. These are some of the most important articles we've ever written, guys. Like one that is just politically very important is an article targeted at Republicans. So look at that article, send that article to your Republican senators as you push them to co-sponsor S-2598. This is not a liberal issue, guys. 40% of all borrowers never graduated. The red states are being absolutely wrecked by student loan debt. Over half of student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent. You know, this is a seniors issue. There are more people over 35 than under 35 with student loans. More people over 50 than under 25 with student loans. This is a veterans issue. This is really not a left liberal issue, guys. It just isn't. I know the people on the corporate media and stuff, and quite frankly, I think the Democrats love to frame this issue as a left versus right thing. And I mean, really, the Democrats have tricked the Republicans onto the wrong side of this issue. So this paper that we just wrote about conservatives is just one of the 5-6 papers that we've published in the past 2 weeks that really needs to get out there. So please go to our Medium site right down there, and clap many times for all of the recent articles that we've published there. The article we published most recently was basically the epitaph of the student. You know, we really should start talking about student loans in the past tense. So the student loan system is dead, ladies and gentlemen. The pandemic killed it. And that is the title of, I think, our most recent article. Clap. There's a little clap thing on all of our articles. Please clap many, many times for this article. I think you can clap up to 50 times. Clap up to 50 times for all of these articles. The most important article on that Medium platform is what I said at the very top, that we are not going to see meaningful loan cancellation until and unless we get the threat of bankruptcy back. That is the most important article of the whole bunch. And I think it should be at the very top of the platform. So come on, guys, this is a grassroots thing. You can't sit and eat popcorn and think that we're going to solve this problem for you. We are not. Who's going to solve this problem for you are, yeah, but we meaning you and me. When you sit there and spectate, that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anyone, doesn't do anything. You got to get your hands dirty. And I can guarantee you, after 16 years of doing this, when you sitting there don't do anything, nothing happens. You have no idea how important you are. So thank you, Rachel. I appreciate that. And I hope everybody will get the word out. You know, if there was other groups fighting this fight, I would defer to them. And frankly, I'd take this banner behind me and I'd throw it in the trash and I'd get a real job and I'd, get on with my life. But unfortunately, guys, we are the pioneers. We're it right now. If we leave it to all the other people fighting for students, so they claim, we're going to get some up to $50,000 nonsense at the most. That's the most we're going to get from Joe Biden. We won't get bankruptcy rights back. And this lending catastrophe will roll on through tens of millions of more people's lives, including yours and including mine. This group right here is it, guys. Tell a friend. Look, I'm not even lying. Tell a friend. Yeah, I have no idea what the other groups are doing, guys. They have no defense. If they know what I know, and they should, they would be intellectual. If they were being intellectually honest, they would be compelled to strongly agree and fight with us for S-2598. So whatever. But we don't need them, guys. We're all we've got, but in many ways, we're all we need as well. Hey, Gretchen Marie says, we should also use that they will lose votes and not be reelected. The Democrats, Biden, should be afraid of his lies and promises. We all should not repay them. You said a couple things there, Gretchen. First of all, you're spot on, Gretchen, on every front. You know, Joe Biden he didn't just stab us in the back with his betrayal, his promises to cancel loans, and then turning around and saying, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." It's more like an ice pick between our eyes. And make no mistake, guys, we are 45 million people. If you count co-signers, we're 55 million, and private student loan borrowers, we're 55 million people strong, guys. That's nearly enough to elect a president outright. So we are not to be trifled with. And if the Democrats think they can take us for granted, they are just absolutely wrong. Quite frankly, the best thing the Republicans could do right now is embrace this issue, do the conservative, constitutional, and moral thing, and join us in calling for, at a minimum, the return of bankruptcy rights. But really, if the Republicans want to trump the Democrats, they'll go all in, realize what I just said, that this lending system is dead. There's no saving it. And I proved that very strongly in that article at medium.com, which I hope that you'll clap for many times. And they will join us in calling for the end, the clearance, the erasure of this entire lending scam. We can do better than this, guys. We can afford to educate our citizens without turning them into virtual slaves. Look at every other country. Look at Mexico. Look at Russia. Look at China. Look at Norway. Look at Germany, Netherlands, Sweden. You name the country, and I'll show you a country has figured it out. So you're right on that, Gretchen. Joe Biden he's doing something very stupid. We expected this from Joe Biden. We knew he was going to, in fact, he was the worst candidate in the entire presidential field. So we're not surprised. We tried to warn people, actually. If you look at our Medium thing, you'll see an article that we wrote before the election warning everybody about what a snake Joe Biden was. But whatever, hindsight's 2020. It gives me absolutely zero pleasure to say I told you so. We've been saying I told you so for decades now. If I may say so. Okay, Gordon says, wow, funny you say that. I tell critics the exact same. Oh, I'm sorry, Gretchen, I wanted to get back to your last point. We all should not repay them. Gretchen, I can't agree with you more. The worst thing, in my humble opinion, the most unpatriotic thing that anybody can do when and if they turn this lending system back on is to feed money into this beast. It's wrong on every level. I know a lot of people are scared. Oh, you don't want to get your wages garnished. You don't want to get your tax return taken. There's a lot of ways that you can bulletproof yourself. I think a lot of people out there are way more afraid of this failed lending system than we should be of it. There's going to be a mass default, guys. I recommend everybody bulletproof themselves. If you're really worried about it, maybe you want to become a 1099 contractor. Maybe you want to go into business for yourself rather than being an employee punching a clock. Maybe you want to just talk to your employer if you have a good relationship with your boss and say, look, the people asking for the wage garnishment, they're not the government. They're a bunch of 2-bit collection goons. They try and make themselves appear as if they are the government, but they're not. They're a bunch of third-rate boiler room, probably didn't even go to college, snakes on the other side of that phone. And if your employer tells them to pound sand and to say, come back with a court order if they want a wage garnishment, dollars to donuts, they're going to go away. They're going to look for an easier victim down the list. That's just a practical bit of advice there. So yeah, guys, there's a lot of things that you can do. Don't be afraid of this lending system. And remember, at this point, it is probably not only unwise, but unpatriotic. Unpatriotic. I hate to say that, but it's true. Unpatriotic to ever pay another dime into your federal student loans. So having said that, speaking of not paying, and I'm going to ironically cut my own throat with what I just said. Technically, you can make a payment every 270 days, and technically, your loans should not be put into default. Now, the law behind this is there's a little bit of wiggle room, so I can't say that for 100%, but I can tell you that many people on our group have made small payments every not quite 9 months, and that has been, up to this point, an effective way to keep their loans out of default. So just putting that out there. It's not advice. It's not rock solid, but it seems to be working for a lot of our people. Michael Jacobs says, oh, actually, Judith. Hey, Judith. Judith, I made it. Sorry, I was a little bit late tonight, but I was in makeup for longer than I needed to be. I'm kidding. Judith Davis says, they have garnished my Social Security and stolen my tax refund for 3 years now. I feel they are getting repaid, so I don't need to pay. Judith, I am so sorry to hear that. We hear that, number one, all the time. The Social Security thing is very difficult. There is an appeals process, supposedly, that you can go to. What I have heard is that it's essentially a kangaroo court. Like, if you can even get a hearing, they usually deny it. So that really, really sucks. Now, one thing you can do, I'm not so sure about fixed income, how that works tax-wise, but I can tell you that if you don't have a tax return to get at the end of the year, they won't get it because there's nothing to get. So in other words, if you owe a little in taxes at the end of the year rather than you owe at the end of the year, there is no return to attach. So you might want to think about that and see how you might be able to get that to work to your advantage. But yeah, I hear you, Judith. That's so terrible. I'm 51 years old myself. I'm not knocking on the door of retirement, but I kind of see it over the next hill kind of thing. And guys, the only thing I can tell you is this lending system is dead. It may still be doing stuff, but it's dead. It is a dead man walking. So the most effective and efficient use of your time right now is helping us fight for the disgusting thing, which is bankruptcy, which I know it's tough to do. Nobody wants to go to a park and protest and say bankruptcy. Nobody wants to do that. I get that. But the truth remains, we are not going to see anything meaningful from President Biden, probably the next president, unless and until we get bankruptcy back. Now, the lending system's dead. We're going to see a mass default. My best guess is that not even 25% of the borrowers are going to resume paying come May 1st. Hopefully a lot less. But so that's just kind of a reality. That's a fact. There's no getting around it. Less than half of all borrowers were making payments before the pandemic. Like 48.7% of the borrowers were paying. 51.8%, 2% were not paying before the pandemic. So the lending system was failed even before COVID. Almost nobody's paying now. If you really think that more than 25% are going to resume paying when and if they start demanding it, ain't going to happen. Not going to happen. It's been 2 years, guys. I've rethought my life. You've rethought your life. A lot of people out there have rethought things. And most of the people, 80% with student loans who were never going to be able to repay their loans, even before the pandemic, they came to the conclusion that student loans are ridiculous and fake and stupid. And the longer they postpone the inevitable, the longer they extend this repayment moratorium, the more rigor mortis sets in and the fewer people will ultimately ever resume paying again. So, but for the lack of any sort of courage in Washington, D.C., they would have taken this lending system to the bathroom and drowned it in the tub at the first onset of COVID. Really, this is the biggest mistake of Donald Trump's presidency. He could have easily won re-election if he would have done the right thing and simply canceled this failed lending system. But anyways, guys, we got this. Oh, thank you, Judith. If I look a little disheveled and unshaven, it's because I am. I'm up here in northern Wisconsin, and it was like -11 when I woke up, and it's like 3 right now. It's like super cold. We've got over a foot of snow on the ground. And no, I haven't showered. I've barely been out of the house for the past like 4 days. So I do have some cross-country skis, though, which I may employ when the weather breaks a little bit and we get some sun and whatnot. And maybe I'll even take a shower, too. So, all right, guys. As Gordon Wayne Watts just said, hang tight. We will win in time. But, time is of the essence, folks. We have a bill. We have sausage that is being made right now. We have a bill that is in committee right now. And what we do, what you and I do over the next weeks and months is absolutely critical. Very last thing I'm going to say tonight, guys, is, again, go to our website and go to our daily actions. Okay. Yeah. Go to our website, go to our daily actions. Do a month worth, going back a month or 2 months, and do all of those daily actions. They're so quick, dude. It's usually like Twitter. It's usually like retweet this. That's the daily action. It's like so simple. Go back a month and do that. It will help. All the stuff that I talked about earlier tonight, all those daily actions are geared exactly around that. So they don't take long. If you really want to see your loans gone, that's exactly what you'll do. And as I said, guys, I don't know why, but not only are we the tip of this spear, not only are we the reason that bankruptcy is in Congress right now, we are the reason that student loan cancellation by executive order is even being talked about because of our petition at change.org/cancel student loans. This group is way more important than you think, and you are way more important than you know. If we can, for example, if we get even one Republican governor, a Ron DeSantis or a Greg Abbott or a Brian Kemp or a Chris Sununu or a Christy Neem, if we can get any of those governors, Republican governors, where student loan debt exceeds the entire state budget, Larry Hogan, if we get even one Republican governor to join us and say, Mr. President, cancel these loans or return bankruptcy to these loans, either or. First, if I had to pick, I'd say pick the first one or the second one, bankruptcy. That's it, guys. That's game over. We win. You could be that one person, you sitting there right there. You could be that one person that gets that one governor to do that. You're smart. You went to college, right? We all went to college. We're not stupid. Hopefully not that stupid anyways. Be clever, be creative. We need you. And as you can tell, there's only 20,000 people on this group. Sure, we've got over 1 million people on our petition, but we cannot count on them. You cannot count on anyone but yourself. So take that to heart. And whatever your situation may be, if you have the internet and you're able to like watch this live stream, then you can be fighting our fight with us. It doesn't take anything more than typing skills and internet. You know, we have a person, Martha, in Connecticut. She is suffering from an incredibly terrible, debilitating disease. I'm not going to talk about it. It's her business, but let's just say that she is confined to a wheelchair. She has to be. There's no way that she's not. She can't barely move a lot of her muscles and stuff, and she is finding a way to fight with us. So if Martha can do it, I guarantee you that you can do it. You have no excuse. And don't expect anyone else to pull your weight for you. These are your loans. This is your problem. This is your fight. And we are only going to get places when you own the problem and you help us. We're not going to beg. I don't like to babysit. I will every once in a while. We will help you in any way that we can, but it's got to start with you. And that's always been true. And as soon as even 50% of the people in our group, the 500,000 people, actually get off their ass and start helping us, then this problem gets solved in a matter of weeks, literally weeks, maybe even days. 500,000 people is an army. So remember that. We got this, guys. We got this. So with that, I can't see all the comments, guys. I don't know what's going on. But it's Friday night. We had a strong week. This is important. We're doing a talk next Thursday, and I almost forgot to mention this. We're giving a talk next Thursday with people from Stanford University and UC Irvine, University of Southern California, about and we're going to be previewing the film. It's a Zoom thing. Please go there and register for it. Thanks to Lisa Onsell, by the way, for putting this whole thing together. It's a very easy sign-up thing. Bit.ly, free students. And it's free, by the way. It's a free talk. So please do that. Be very helpful. Maybe the very last thing I'll say before I sign off tonight, please donate if you can, guys. We survive and thrive on like very little in donations. Next week, we have an expensive week coming up. We have to raise nearly $800. And so I want to get a jump on that if I can. If you can donate, just go to the website, studentloanjustice.org/whatever, donate. Easy to find. Please help if you can. We survive only and totally on usually very moderate personal gifts from normal people like you to normal people like me. It's we don't need a lot, but we can't do it on nothing. So we can fight and win this battle on very little. Can't do it on nothing. So please help there if you would. So with that, I think I will sign off. We have way more comments than I can see. Unfortunately, guys, I apologize for that. We'll try and get it right next time. But hang in there, guys. We got this. We got this. Go to our Medium and clap for all those articles. More importantly, read those articles. You know, when you know what I know, then you can be as effective as I am in fighting this fight. You know, leading your state chapters would be something that you can do that we need. We need strong, passionate state chapter leaders to take it to their governor and take it to their senators. Think about it. So good luck, everybody. Let's get this done this year. In fact, let's get this done before springtime. And I'm serious about that. We can do it. We have it within our power. We're all we've got, but in many ways, we're really all that we need. So take heart. Good luck. Godspeed. And God bless everybody. I'll see you on Sunday.